In this short series, we're going to look at the .NET CLI, and really the end goal here is just to give you enough information to go off and create a new project from one of the available templates, and then to build and compile and then ultimately run your application that you write in C# from the command line. And there's a bunch of other stuff. In fact, anything that you would ever need to do with the .NET runtime, the .NET library, the C# compiler, or any of the compilers, you can do from this .NET command line interface. So you might say, well, I would prefer to use a visual environment like Visual Studio, the full IDE, and that would be fine. But under the hood, it's calling the same commands that this CLI is calling. So again, I want you to be familiar with both, but let's start off with under the hood and let's work with the commands so that you know what's going on. And then when you move to the visual tool, it will expedite but won't hide what is actually happening. Okay, so let's start off with just talking about the .NET CLI. It's really easy to actually fire it up. Here I am just at the root directory, and I can do this from, if I've installed it correctly, I can do this from any directory on my hard drive. I can just call it .NET. And before we said, hey, .NET, tell me what current version we're working with. It's the 3.1.300 version. Yours might be different. If I want to access any functionality, I would just use a command. Now, what are the commands? You can find them by using the help flag. So .NET space -- help, and it will give you all the commands that you can use and a lot more information that than you possibly could really be interested in. We're just going to focus on things like new and build and run. So for example, if I wanted to see some help on a specific command, this line here tells us how we can do that. Just use .NET, then the command we want to understand more about, and then help. So it'll give us specific information about that. So .NET new is something we're going to learn in the next video. So if I add the help flag on the end, it will then tell me about that command and give me additional options that I can add and the templates that are available. Now, this is unfortunately because of how I've shrunk the console and how large my font is, it's all kind of pushed off into multiple lines. So I'm going to pull this out so that you can see it line up like a nice table. There you go. That's a little bit better. All right, so it might be small text, but go ahead and do this along with me. And you can see there's a bunch of templates. So when I want to create a new project, I don't have to start from scratch. I can start with some starter code and settings to help accelerate as I try to build a specific type of application. So we're going to focus mostly on console applications, which are simple command line applications at first, and we will move into like ASP.NET core applications later on, and maybe even some of these other ones like NUnit projects, maybe a Blazor app, and who knows, maybe WPF or some other things later on. But you can see that there are some additional, like the language, for example. By default, it will create a C# console project, but we can also say create a F# or VB project template using the same command, all right? But we're not going to worry about that for right now. We're only going to stick with C#. So that's all you need to know. And in the next lesson, we're going to actually create a new project. See you there.